Hello and welcome to another day of Walking with Jesus. We're going to turn a corner today and begin looking at some different controversy passages or the upside down kingdom passages or things where religious authorities kind of think one way and Jesus thinks another way. So there's a reversal, if you will, that occurs in a lot of these passages. This particular passage has to do with the healing of a woman who has been crippled for 18 years. That number 18 years is probably just, it means a long time, not necessarily 18 years specifically, but a long time. She's been in this crippled position. Jesus sees her, he releases her. It creates conflict with the synagogue ruler, and Jesus contradicts the synagogue ruler. So let's look at this passage. It's Luke 13:10 and following. Now he was teaching, that's Jesus, in one of the synagogues on the Sabbath, and behold, there was a woman who had had a disabling spirit for 18 years. She was bent over and could not fully straighten herself. When Jesus saw her, he called her over and said to her, "Woman, you are freed from your disability." And he laid his hands on her, and immediately she was made straight, and she glorified God. But the ruler of the synagogue, indignant because Jesus had healed on the Sabbath, said to the people, "There are 6 days in which work ought to be done. Come on those days and be healed, and not on the Sabbath day." Then the Lord answered him, "You hypocrites! Does not each of you on the Sabbath untie his ox or his donkey from the manger and lead it away to water it? And ought not this woman, a daughter of Abraham, whom Satan bound for 18 years, be loosed from this bond on the Sabbath day?" As he said these things, all of his adversaries were put to shame, and all the people rejoiced at all the glorious things that were done by him. So first of all, we have Jesus manifesting himself as the Lord of the Sabbath. We have him being recognized as having authority. The response of the people in verse 17 is alluding very much to Exodus 34:10, where God is speaking and he's talking to Moses, and he says to Moses, "Behold, I am making a covenant before all your people. I will do marvels such as have not been created in all the earth or in any nation. And all the people among whom you are shall see the work of the Lord, for it is an awesome thing that I will do with you." That sign of awesomeness, and it's very much the language, the glorious things that were done by him. So the people are recognizing this perhaps as the working of God through Jesus, this man who has healed. A couple of things to note here just in passing. The woman did not come for healing. She was not there for healing. She was just in the synagogue for worship. Jesus, though, when he saw her, he had compassion on her. He called her over. He's the initiator throughout this. And, he lays his hands on her, and immediately she was made straight and she glorified God. This probably the woman, "You are freed from your disability," along with him laying his hands on it, is probably a simultaneous thing. Her instantly being straightened and she glorifies God, all happens together. The response to this, you would think, would be one of absolute praise and thanksgiving that someone has been healed, someone has been delivered from bondage. Now, this probably isn't a demon possession so much as it is viewed as all illness is the result of the fall and falls under the chaos that reigns under Satan's authority. And so Jesus is overthrowing the kingdom of Satan by bringing healing to her. It's not so much that there's a spirit in her that's causing her to be bent over so much as she's experiencing the effects of the fall and the illness that Satan, debilitating illness that Satan rules over. So we have all that. And then the response of the synagogue ruler, he doesn't confront Jesus. He turns to the people and he chastises them for coming to look for healing on the Sabbath day, which that's not why they were there. Jesus saw a need and he met the need. And he lays out how hypocritical it is, because the Pharisees and the Sabbath upholders taught that you could do some work on the Sabbath. And if you could release an animal so that it could get water to drink, shouldn't this woman be released so that she could give glory to God? And so there's this confrontation that takes place. What do we today want to draw out of this? I think what we need to perhaps look at is the fact that sometimes we use our rituals and our laws and our ways of worship and our ways of thinking to burden people down the same way that this synagogue official was doing. We need to be careful that we don't do that, that we enable all people at all times to have access to God, and that we help them in that journey. That the journey is about healing in the presence of God, however that can happen, whenever that can happen. There's no right or wrong time. Well, the right time is the present to bring about the release from captivity. The wrong time is any time later than it has to happen. So I'm not exactly sure 100% what we're supposed to do with this passage, other than to recognize that Jesus is Lord. He's Lord of the Sabbath. He has absolute power and authority over the kingdom of Satan. He is the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. He is able to release from captivity at any and all times, in any and all places. And he is willing to do so. He has compassion, and he is the initiator in that. So I would encourage you today, as you walk with Jesus, to keep your eyes fixed on Jesus, to trust him and his leading and his ways, and to make sure that your forms of worship and your ways of approaching the grace of God, your ways of encountering God, don't inhibit or hinder others from coming to a saving knowledge of God. Let's be very gracious and generous with all those around us, especially with those perhaps who don't worship exactly the way we do. And let's make sure we're not responsible for holding people away from the healing that Jesus wants to offer them. So as you walk with Jesus today, be an agent of hope and healing, because that's who our God is. God bless you as you walk with him.